In Brooklyn, there were 3 subway lines, the Q, the B, and Franklin Avenue shuttle, that were completely shut down by the blizzard for 2 days. An extremely limited bus service remains prevalent. Assemblyman Hakeem Jeffries represents those communities, some of the communities along those subway lines. He's here to talk more about the MTA's fare increase. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you doing?
Pretty good.
You have called for a delay in the fare hikes under the circumstances of the last couple of days. What did the circumstances of the past couple of days and the blizzard really have to do with the long-term budget issues of the MTA?
Well, you know, the mayor has failed the city of New York, as he has acknowledged, and the MTA has failed the city of New York and failed the riding public. Subway lines, as you pointed out, completely shut down. Buses stuck in the snow, more than 600 across the city of New York. Hundreds of thousands of commuters have been stranded, shut into their homes, unable to get out to work or to other obligations. To add insult to injury, on top of all this, the MTA, of course, understood that the storm was coming and failed to adequately prepare for it.
What could they have done to prepare for it?
Well, it's obvious that, one, to allow buses to roll through subway streets that have not been either plowed or salted has added to the disastrous conditions in many communities across the city of New York. One, when you allow those buses to roll forward under conditions where they obviously were going to get stuck, not only have you hindered the ability of folks to move back and forth using mass transportation, but you've blocked the ability of ambulances, of fire trucks, of police cars, and of people to move back and forth. It's clear that the failure to prepare was disastrous, and then on top of that, the response has been riddled with incompetence.
All right, I want to listen for just a moment to what Chairman of the MTA, Jay Walder, said at his news conference, joined by Mayor Bloomberg today. When asked that specific question, do you plan to delay the fare hike because of the events of the recent days? Let's listen to what his response was today.
No, I think the fare hike is something that has been in plans for 6 months. We've gone through a process of consideration of public hearings. It has to go forward at this point. The agency fundamentally needs the resources.
So if the agency fundamentally needs the resources, we know everybody's struggling right now. How can you expect service to improve, just playing devil's advocate with you, if they're already facing a $900 million deficit? They already can't provide the basic level of service in a storm, and they've cut back service over the last year.
Well, there's no doubt that the agency desperately needs the resources, and it's clear that the system is broken. The inability for them to respond adequately in the context of this storm demonstrates that. But until bus and subway service has been completely restored, the B line in my community is still out. The buses aren't running. The Franklin.
So your point is that short term, while the B line, he insisted today that the B line is back up and running.
He insisted that it was back up and running, and we subsequently found out that it was not. The Franklin Avenue shuttle is still down. The N train, which runs through the Park Slope section of my community, is down. Hundreds of thousands of folks are still without service. At least until such time as the service has been restored, it seems the appropriate thing to do to suspend the fare increase temporarily. And in the short term, we also need to figure out how, with this additional money, they're going to improve the system.
All right, well, that's a question for down the road. But for right now, based on his answer today, it doesn't seem like this fare hike is going to be delayed. But thank you for your input.
Thank you.
Assemblyman Hakeem Jeffries.